Alright, good morning. It is bright and early. Not bright, the sun isn't up yet, but today's the day I am taking out the ASICS Roadblast for its initial run. And I'm pretty excited. But I just checked the weather. Check the weather before I go out, and then at the end of my run, so I can tell you guys about how it was on my run. But this was pretty unusual. This morning, it is already, okay, so it's about 5:15 now. At 5:08, I took this screenshot, and it's 82 degrees, which is 27.78 Celsius. The bad thing is the feels like temp is already 92 degrees, which is 33 degrees. I just took these out of the box, and you know, this is a discount shoe. It's important to remember going forward in this review, this is a discount shoe. When I take it out of the box, it kind of looks cheap compared with some other shoes that you and I might run with. It looks a little cheap. But listen, we are not gonna judge this by its appearance until we take it through its paces and see what it can do. But let me just show you. So right here on the tongue, it just feels a little plasticky almost. Now it's thick, there's some padding in there. It feels a little plasticky. It's almost like it's a sticker that they stuck on. You can see the top of the midsole here, just where it's kind of angled up. You can see it's been kind of painted black, and it looks like it's spray paint. And if you just kind of glance at it, it looks okay. But when you look closer, it looks like they taped it off and got a can of spray paint and just sprayed it along there, and it just kind of fogs into it. This sticker with the FF Blast, this is the ASICS Flight Foam, just looks less than premium, let's just say that. But at $90, this is a less than premium shoe. So I am still very excited to try it, because you know how it goes. These shoes are getting more and more expensive. It seems like, you know, $150, $160, it's getting to be a norm for shoes. And at $90, this is, well, it's budget. So today we're taking out for its initial run, and that's what I'm gonna do right now. Alright guys, listen, this was a great run. It was a surprising great run from the first couple steps in these in my new ASICS Roadblast. But first, let's take a break for the weather. I tell you what, it did not get any cooler. In fact, it warmed up by 2 degrees. It is now 84 degrees or 28.89 Celsius, and it feels like temperature of 94, which is warmer, 34.44 Celsius. So this run was 11.7 miles. I did my old Lake House Cove loop. If you follow me on Strava, you probably see that a couple times a week. 11.7 miles, which is 18.83 kilometers, an average pace of 8:24 a mile, which is 5:13 a kilometer. And I was lucky enough to be off today, so I started off super early because I don't know, I wouldn't like to run when the sun's up today. But let's talk about these shoes. Okay. Let me just take 5. I can't actually get my shoes off right now, and I'm gonna tell you why in just a second. So these laces are very thin, like they're just laces. There is nothing special about them. They're just little, like, flat kind of linguine laces. And because my shoes are soaked through from sweat, they've kind of, when I double knotted them, they kind of locked up. And and they were very difficult to come undone. Okay, back to me. First things first, when I first went out for these runs, like the first couple steps, I was surprised because I was looking at the midsole, looking at the stack height, and I thought these shoes are gonna be pretty squishy. Like they're gonna be, by the way, they are very flexible. Very flexible. And I thought these were gonna be very squishy, and I was surprised, happily surprised, that they weren't. They were firm, and not too firm, just like, you know, that sweet spot in the middle. They definitely reminded me of the Reebok that I just reviewed, my full review a couple weeks ago. Before I put these on, I've had these in the box in my office for a little while, several weeks, maybe even a couple of months. And I bought my ASICS Glide Ride at the same time, and I wore those first because I was more excited to try the Glide Ride because I'd heard so many good things about them. I really hadn't heard anything about these Roadblast, and by all means, this is a budget shoe. The Glide Ride is more of a higher end, highly cushioned shoe, and I was a little more excited for that. But I've only run 11.7 miles, and I have to say, I like the feel of these. I like how they feel on my foot. I like how they run 10 times better than the Glide Ride, which makes me a little disappointed because the Glide Ride were expensive shoes. These were not. And we've already talked about how they look when I first opened them up with the paint. But I just want to draw your attention to this overlay of the ASICS label. It's just kind of painted on. It's not actually an overlay, doesn't give any structure to the upper. It just doesn't look as sharp. But you know what? We're not gonna judge this shoe by the appearances when it performs very well. All right, I'm gonna get inside. We're gonna run over some numbers and I'll finish telling you about the shoe. Okay, I've cooled down after my run. My shoe has not cooled down, or maybe it's cooled down, but there's still some side effects from my run, which I'm gonna tell you about in just a second. First of all, the stack height. Listen, the stack height is a medium stack height shoe. It's not huge. We have a max of 24 millimeters in the heel, 14 millimeters in the forefoot, which gives it a 10 millimeter drop. ASICS says that the men's size 9 weighs in at 8.7 ounces. In my size, men's US size 13, UK size 12, comes in at 10.6 ounces or 300 grams. But check this out, after my run in those insanely hot temperatures, my shoe has gained some weight. Weighing in after the run, after I've been sweating in it for an hour and a half, this shoe now weighs 13.9 ounces or 395 grams. That's an increase of 95 grams or 3.3 ounces in just an hour and a half. That's about a quarter of the weight. That's a 25% increase just from my run. Maybe it's something to think about if you're going to be racing in hot climates, because this shoe obviously does not shed water the way something a little lighter, something with a lighter upper would. Speaking of the upper, check it out. Can we zoom in on this? Or focus on that right there. It's very simple. It looks nice, but it's very simple. Just like a very simple knit upper. We do see some overlays. I know we were talking about this earlier, just kind of being painted on, but we've got some overlays over the eyelet chain. There's some overlays around the heel counter, and the heel counter, not the sturdiest, but definitely sturdy enough. Something I did notice when I first put it on was the amount of cushioning around the heel collar. There's a lot of cushioning, which is good because you're not going to get blisters from it rubbing your heel. However, all that cushioning does soak up the sweat, and I think that's probably where most of the water weight is. I am going to get back to the garage and stuff these with newspaper right away. So, one run in, and yes, I'm impressed, I guess. So I've got to be careful. I know I mentioned it on a past video that I am always enamored with a new shoe when I put them on for the first time. This was no different. I told you, my first couple steps, I was impressed. It was firm, yet cushioned, you know, that sweet spot, that Goldilocks spot right in the middle. I'm going to enjoy running in these shoes. I'm going to look forward to putting them on, and I will definitely get to 400 miles in these shoes. I will give you a full update once I get a little further, probably over 100 miles, just so we can see how they're holding up, how the outsole's holding up. And while we're on the outsole, we can see here that we do have outsole rubber all the way around, which tells me that these shoes are going to last. These shoes are going to be resilient. This outsole rubber is pretty thick. Guys, I've got to mention it one more time. This is a $90 shoe, a brand new pair of shoes from ASICS for less than $100. Where can you get that? So that brings me to who this shoe is for. I think this shoe is for everyone, but I can understand how you might be looking for something a little more premium. If you're not worried about a premium shoe, this shoe is for you. It's a great value for money at $90. And if you can get them on sale like I did, even better. Thanks for staying all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. If you got any value, please give this video a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and do that right now. I put out new videos twice a week. And be kind, be happy, run well, and I'll see you next time.